how you want to start?
Is
Looking like
everything all
that?
right?
Yeah, I just had to clear the throat before we start the pod. You know what I'm saying? The throat.
You know, I was just gonna ask you if you have COVID, but then it made me think of something. It was a joke, but it made me think of something. It made me think of the fact that people have been talking the last couple of days about how it's been 4 years since it
Okay.
happened. I didn't realize people were like keeping track of it
Me either.
because I've seen a lot of people say, like, I've seen memes and things and videos that people have posted about how this was like the last normal, 4 years ago, this was the last normal week before our lives changed
All right, all
forever.
right. They gotta relax. Ridiculous.
I just thought that was really interesting. I was like, I didn't realize this is the first time I noticed it since then. I mean, maybe people do this every year. I don't know, but I just thought that was fascinating. And I was like, okay.
Ridiculous. I hit it.
Well, everyone, this is Weeknights.
Look what a day off does.
I am back. Okay. I am back. Back here with my
Hmm.
co-host. Tell them who you are, co-host.
Oh, okay. My turn. You're not introducing
Yep.
yourself?
Not yet. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Tell
Look
them
at
who you
that.
are. Tell them who you are, solo host.
I was not solo. The audience and the chat were with me.
The
Shout out to
chat was
everybody who
lit.
was in the chat holding it down yesterday.
Yep. I'm not
But
gonna lie, I was lurking. I was watching what you were doing. I was making sure you were holding it down.
mm, mm, mm.
But yeah. Yeah, you did a good job. You did a good job.
Thanks.
He
Don't do
who
it again.
pods
Don't
alone.
don't do it again. You make sure your ass come to work, all right?
You're right. You're right. Sometimes you gotta take a PTO day.
Uh-huh. Yeah, sure.
An
Cause we
emergency
cause cause
day.
we get paid.
Sometimes you gotta take, oh, I don't get emergency days at work, but I do know someone who does. Sometimes you gotta take an emergency day.
Hmm.
And that's what happened. I will not make it a habit, but personal things were doing what they do. And I had to take a little breaky break from the pod, but that's okay because my co-host, again, he who pods alone,
Not
did a
alone.
fantastic did a
You can say alone.
fantastic job while I was gone.
Thanks. I try.
You held it down. You had
Mm,
you had the chat going.
a little bit.
I mean, you talked about some of the things,
I did.
you know.
And I knew you ain't want to talk about Cat Williams. So I was like, you know what?
I didn't
This is a good time to talk about Cat.
I did not have any beef with Cat Williams. I just want to be clear
I
because
know, but you don't want to talk about him.
you made it sound like I have beef with Cat Williams. Let's set the record straight right now. By the
We
way,
still
I'm
not. We still
Dash.
have. I'm about to say we still haven't even introduced ourselves.
I mean,
See,
I kept trying to ask you to introduce yourself, and you just keep skirting the introduction.
because you're supposed to introduce yourself first. It's
Why is it bothering
alphabetical.
you so much
It's
that I'm not
alphabetical order. It's
fel-
ladies first.
fellas first today?
No, I don't like it.
Why?
Pineapples. I'm
Why
uncomfortable.
don't you like it when that happens? I don't understand why that bothers you so much.
It's alphabetical order.
Why?
All right, whatever, man. I'm JD, aka He Who Pods. Who are you?
And he does pod alone sometimes.
Who are you?
I'm Dash, aka Dashing D, aka the real king of R&B, aka Vamoose. I wasn't even here.
Oh.
So
AKA Mad Moose. Yo, you gotta keep that. Gotta keep that. That gotta be the new one. That gotta be the new one.
yeah, I like that one.
Oh, I see my speakers are on. Do you hear like a low buzzing sound?
No.
Then it's all good.
Yeah, so what was I gonna say? Lost my train of
You don't
thought.
have any beef with
Oh,
Cat
Cat.
Williams.
I don't have beef with Cat Williams. I just like anyone else. I watched it. Well, I shouldn't say just like anyone else. My brain works a little bit different when I'm watching TV and movies and YouTube videos and things. I'm usually very curious and I have lots of questions and I will be the first person to admit that I sometimes watch uh with questions. Sometimes it's not just about being entertained. Sometimes, I watch for information, I watch to understand. And so, I had some questions about Cat Williams. That does not mean that I have beef with Cat Williams. I am not mad at him in any way. Contrary to popular belief, he's fine. Like, he could be there, he could not. I don't really have an affection towards him, nor do I have disdain for him, if that makes sense.
You just was hating on the 3,000 books.
I just didn't understand. And then when I inquired, when I did my own research to find out, well, tell me a little bit more about this. I realized that it was probably not as possible as he made it seem. And then I even said, well, this must be hyperbole. Because sometimes, especially with comedians, they're hyperbolic. So it's totally possible. He has now explained that he was reading books side by side, and that's fine. That's fine.
I mean, he also explained that he was not allowed to do anything else but read from those years, during those years.
I hear that. As a kid who was only allowed to watch 1 hour a week of television and, you know, uh,
Don't try to bring your trauma to the
didn't.
Cat
No,
Williams,
it's not.
okay?
It's not trauma at all.
It's
I'm just.
jokes. It's jokes.
I
I
know, but
couldn't
I'm
get my
just.
jokes off yesterday, okay? So I'm trying to get my jokes off today.
I see that. But as a kid who, yes, read a lot of books as a child, and
You
maybe
should have
my
been counting them. Maybe you read 3,000.
maybe
You know what I'm
my
saying?
IQ wasn't that of Cat Williams,
Probably not.
but
You got a high ass IQ.
I'm pretty fucking smart. So anyway, listen, whatever. He read his books. He had a good time. He was reading books side by side. Good for him. Good for him. Okay? Good for him. I'm not mad at him. Don't make it seem like I'm mad at him. This is not even about Cat Williams. We're supposed to be talking about other people. So, but I just want to say just one last time, thank you for holding it down yesterday.
No problem, Bob.
I appreciate what you did. I appreciate the fact that you did it on live.
I needed a little extra something. You know what I mean? This not the thing I'll ever want to do alone.
I understand.
So since I had to do it alone, I said, you know what? I need a little help. Let me get the audience involved.
I understand. And that was cool. You did a great job. So,
Thanks.
I appreciate you. I'm
Shout
sure
out to
our
Dave, Chris, and everybody else who came through and held it down. Dre, Kia. Oh yeah, Kia came at the end crying, laughing about
yeah.
Bob Marley's lack of dancing skills.
Right, exactly. So we had, good turnout, and that's great. That's great. Now I could take a day off once a week.
You trying to turn this into the Joe Budden podcast where we argue about contracts on air?
No, jokes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Jokes. That was not a common thing to happen, and it's not something that will continue to happen. It just, sometimes life gets in the way and
Yes.
you gotta make adjustments. So anyway, let's get to it.
Okay, where you want to start?
Hmm. Let's talk about people who are upset.
The 5 hottest rappers of all time or the fans?
Let's start with the 5 hottest rappers of all time.
All right, let me play a little something for the audience. me, me. Uh, where's this guy at?
And
Oh, I
you're
got it ready. Go ahead, talk to
okay.
me.
No. Go ahead. I was just gonna try to, talk while you find it.
Chappelle said, top five rappers are Dylan. But well experienced. I never said that. Now, again, we can talk about the joke all day, but this is We Are Flatbush. That's a fact. And I gave you my history. That's a fact. So let's talk for real. When they did that, again, I never. Now, all the people that he made fun of, he made the quote, or when the comedians do these jokes, they say something that you said, and then they bust it and put it in their own way. But this is something that I didn't say at all. So I have no control over this. You said I'm top five rappers. You said I spit hot fire. I'm over here as a kid saying, what are they talking about? David Chappelle said, talking about. Not only that, but right after, anytime I send my music to DJs, they say, oh, that's the nigga that David Chappelle made fun of. Now I'm good on that. Not only that, every promoter says, no, we're not booking him. So now I have a newborn, and the fridge is empty. In 2005, I'm empty. No one is calling me. Everyone is laughing. This is legend now. I'm legend now. Now I'm legend. I'm fucked up for what you just did. I'm talking about did, and you're not answering the phone. No one is answering the phone. So everybody say, oh, you're busting on, man. You've gone through, man. You make it. How?
You're going through,
When
man.
at that time, no one picking up their phone. Not a one label. And at that time, you had to sign to a record label, not one label. And I know all of them. So I'm calling them direct. They're like, I can't help you. That joke, gone, Mike. That joke took over. That joke burned your career. The joke actually burned it. At that time, I couldn't do.
All right. I just wanted to hear him say that joke burned it. Now, you want to go first, or?
No, please. Please go right ahead.
There was no food in your fridge because you didn't have a job. You should have gotten a job.
I can't wait for the clips. That was great.
You weren't like, cause let's be serious here, and I'll get to the other things, but let's be serious about that part. Cause to say that you couldn't feed your family because no one would pick up the phone to let you rap. Rappers had jobs, I mean, or they hustled, but rappers who are big now had jobs. You know why? Because they had to sustain themselves.
Yep.
So, nigga, when you get on and you talk about how you didn't have food in your fridge because your rap career failed because of Dave Chappelle. He keep calling him David. Is Dave Chappelle's real name even David? I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
I get caught up on the details. I know I do, but it's a question. We can move on from it. Sir, you could have just gotten a job, whether it was a part-time job, a full-time job.
A
You
job
would
on the
figure it
corner.
out. A job. But that's what I'm saying. Like, to make it seem like Dave Chappelle was the reason you couldn't feed your baby, like, nigga. And that's not all. That's not all. Dylon thinks that his career didn't take off. His rap career did not take off because of Dave Chappelle. A joke Dave Chappelle made. Now, this is a different time. I feel like if that had happened today, he would take off because it would be on the internet and it would be shared and it would be this whole thing, and it probably would have benefited him in a big way.
Okay.
That's just my opinion. Social media wasn't quite a thing at that point. So my thought is, I think maybe we had Facebook at that point. My thing is, Dylon, have you not rewatched old episodes of Making the Band? Dylon wasn't the easiest person to work with. In fact, I went back because I said, you know what, let me give factual information before I say what I have to say. A fact is that there is an episode of Making the Band, and this is just one of them, but there is an episode of Making the Band where they worked with Wyclef. Wyclef was producing for them.
That's the episode he made fun of.
Now, when you go back to the actual episode, Wyclef actually has to pull Dylon aside and have a chat with Dylon because Wyclef would say, okay, we got it. That's the take right there. And Dylon would be like, you sure? You think so? And Wyclef pulled him aside and said, well, why are we here
Right.
if you are not going to listen to us? Could it be? I don't know. I'm asking questions. I wasn't there. I didn't talk to the record labels. I have no idea what their thought process was. But could it be that people thought that Dylon was difficult to work with and they didn't want to work with him? Or maybe they just they weren't invested enough in what he had going on? Or, hot take, did Diddy and him end on a good note? Because people get blacklisted in music sometimes. I'm just saying. It could have been a number of things, is my point. I don't think, and this is a strong statement, but I'm going to say it. I don't think that Dave Chappelle is the reason Dylon's career did not take off. And I think specifically the reason Dylon's fridge was empty is because he needed to get up and get a job. I'm done.
All right. I agree that Dave Chappelle is not the reason Dylon's career crashed and burned. I think that's pretty obvious. I think that you hit it on the head. So I'm going to attack another part of the video. Dylon says he's a legend today.
In what way?
Well, let's go to the videotape.
Mm-hmm.
Dylon's YouTube has 1.34 thousand subscribers.
Okay.
The first video that pops up is a song from 8 months ago called That's Why. It has 530 views. The second song is from the same summer playlist called Your Side. It has 296 views. And after that, it's clips of Dave Chappelle and Making the Band that pop up until you go to 9 years ago, where a song called All the Best has 70,000 views. 70,000 views is nice.
That's decent.
But that was 9 years ago. Now let's go to Spotify, because maybe his YouTube just isn't reflective of the legend he is today.
You're right.
So let's go to his Spotify. Well, his Spotify says he has 275 monthly listeners.
Okay.
Not exactly legendary. His number one song on Spotify has 4,932 views. It's called We Set the Trends Remix. And the second song has 6,301 streams. It's called Am I Wrong? The next three on his top...
Yes, Dylon, you are.
Right, because the next three songs on his top 5 songs on Spotify each have less than 1,000 streams. Now, I believe the kids will call him Delulu.
Just say the Lulu.
I believe that's what the kids would
Who
call.
are you right now?
I believe that's what the kids would call him.
We need to
Dylon,
unpack that later.
Dylon, 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 and Dylon. I don't know who the fuck told you you're a legend today, but man, I hope he sees this and responds to this and shows us the receipts of something other than what I just read. And let me be clear, we're a teeny tiny podcast. We're not legends, but we're also not claiming to be legends.
Oh.
Yes, I do music. And I'm a nobody. And I say I'm a nobody all the time. But I've got more views than you, player. And I'm only saying this in case he gets mad and responds, because he just might. And I'm still not walking around saying I'm a legend. Because I, in the words of Socrates, I know that I don't know, therefore I know. And I think there's a lot Dylon doesn't know.
Yep.
I think Dylon doesn't know that Dave Chappelle didn't have shit to do with his career burning. I think Dylon doesn't know the definition of accountability. I think Dylon probably does not know the definition of legend. And if you have a newborn and your fridge is empty, yes, as Dash just said, you should probably sell a brick or get a job. And I hope that your newborn survived and is alive and thriving today, because they'd be much older now than back then.
Of course.
And so I hope that they're alive and well. This is no slight to your child.
No, not at all. No.
Just to be clear here, I hope you did get a job. I hope you did make ends meet, and I hope your child is now an adult doing well, or close to an adult doing well.
Yeah.
But Dylon,
that goes without saying.
Dylon, and Dylon, all five of you, please cut it out. Cut the bullshit. Okay? Stop fucking around. Because this is quite a large pile of shit you are peddling, my friend.
And we just got to make the point that Dave Chappelle was making a point with that skit. Dave Chappelle didn't get that from nowhere. Like,
Right.
yes, he may have been, him and his writers team may have thought of this clever way to portray Dylon, but the portrayal of Dylon was based on his appearance on the actual show
And his behavior on
and
the
his
show.
behavior on
Just
the
like
show.
just like everybody in the skit, he made fun of their behavior, including Diddy.
Including Diddy. Diddy's also made fun of, and his career did not tank because of it.
Right.
And obviously he was in a very different position than Dylon. I'm just saying, the fact that you often came off self-absorbed and controlling and like you knew everything and whatnot is an actual thing that people saw when they watched the show. I have seen every single episode of Making the Band, every iteration of Making the Band, even when it was on ABC and Lou Pearlman was doing it with the white boys. I've literally seen all of them. So
Right.
Dylon, we were all there. Well, at least the ones of those of us who were old enough to be there. We were all there. And what are you talking about? Listen, your attitude and your perspective has a lot to do with the way people deal with you or lack thereof. And I'm not saying this is every situation, but sometimes when you are considered one of the misfits and people are not sure on you whether they should take a chance on you or not, it makes it that much harder for you to get people on your side and to get people to buy into what you're selling if you act a certain way.
Right.
So yeah, I'm sure there are some people who are artists or were artists, young artists who, you know, had a bad attitude or did something or whatever, or that people didn't like, but because of their talent and because of what someone saw, they took a chance on them anyway. Unfortunately, everybody's not equally yoked. It doesn't happen that way for everyone.
Right.
So to sit here and not take accountability for the fact that the skit came from somewhere, like maybe you didn't say that, but I think the point here was that you implied it. Um, it's just like, okay, well, all right. Because
And not
you
only,
thought,
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you thought that because it happened 20 years ago, we weren't gonna remember how it went.
Right. And not only that, but the footage is on the internet still. And what I was going to say is
No, that's it.
perhaps it's
But
not just misbehaving. Perhaps it was also work ethic and
that's
talent. Two of the things that we saw highlighted in that show were work ethic and talent. And that was largely the criticism of that group. That a lot of them were very talented, but did not have the work ethic, which is why Diddy didn't really move forward with them in the same way.
right.
Most of them did not have a large career after. In fact, the only ones who really made music after that for a long time was Ness and Choppa. We didn't hear from Fred, Sarah, or Babs until some of them didn't. We didn't hear from at all. Now Babs has been killing it for years.
Right.
She's been doing her thing separately. She's been grinding the battle rap circuit, all type of stuff. She's been making lots of moves. But that was later on.
Yeah.
For the years following the show, most of them didn't do anything and didn't have any kind of buzz or anything.
Right.
So I don't think it's only misbehavior. I think we also have to factor in talent and work ethic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So go ahead.
I I agree. I keep trying to remember and I couldn't find it quick enough for us to record, but I keep trying to remember. And and I keep going back to this thought that I'm pretty sure he was the one who used to always disappear when they had to be somewhere or they had to do something. It was either him or Choppa. Pretty sure it was him though, who would just disappear for hours on end and they would be like, "We don't know where Dylon is." And I
Oh,
think
I
that
don't
was
remember.
because Dylon was from Brooklyn. So his people were around. Like he could just go wherever and like he was at home, basically, you know
Got
what
it.
I mean? So but I'm almost positive that Dylon was the one that would go missing. I would have to go back
I
and
don't
find the
remember.
videos,
I can't call it.
but if that's the case, then yeah, like what did
But
you expect?
what we know is he's still missing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You know who's not missing?
Uh-oh, something happened there. You there?
Yeah.
Oh, you cut out. What'd you say?
I say, you know who's not missing?
Who's not missing?
Nicki Minaj.
Oh shit, let me get the specs. I know where this is going. All right.
She's not missing.
Nope.
Nicki's on tour right now. We talked about her tour coming up. It has
We
started.
did. It has.
We talked about the fact that Monica was going to be a special guest on her tour.
We did.
I want to talk about some of the feedback that's been coming up.
Yeah, yeah. I got
Let's
the
get to it.
receipts that you sent me, so you let me know when you want me to.
So I've been seeing videos. I don't know why, but concert videos pop up into my TikTok feed randomly. Like I don't search for them or anything like that. But they somehow the algorithm has it set up that when when artists go on tour, the videos pop up in my feed. So I've been seeing a lot of Nicki Minaj videos on TikTok. The first iteration of the videos were that they felt Nicki wasn't performing to the best of her abilities. That was the first part. They said it looked very low budget. They said she seemed very lazy, like she didn't want to dance or she didn't really want to do much. They said her clothes didn't look like they were up to par. A lot of people made the note that y'all just finished going to see Beyonce perform and y'all think that everybody's going to be like Beyonce. I thought that was funny.
Okay, that's true.
And that's a good point.
It is.
Every show is not, because, and I did see some people comparing, like I saw somebody put in the comments, oh, I saw Beyonce, so that's where the bar is for me. And it's like, they're not the same artist. They don't do the same thing. Like, Nicki's a rapper. If y'all who love Drake, or if y'all who love, insert any rapper here, really, Jay-Z, J. Cole, there's a long list.
Yep.
They're not all like decked out to the nines to get on stage and rap under hot lights, and
No.
they go up there and what's comfortable for them. It might be designer because they could afford to at least make it look, buy the fancier versions of things, but they're not really going out there and putting on in that way. And I feel like because Nicki's a woman, she's expected to kind of put on this whole razzle dazzle thing, but to a rapper. Now, I will say Nicki in the past has been into razzle dazzle, and the more videos I watched, she's got on her bodysuits and her boots and the hair and the things and whatever. I don't know what was going on. Maybe there was the issue with wardrobe or something the first couple of shows. Who knows? I don't know. I didn't hear that, but I'm just wondering now, looking at the videos that I've seen now compared to the older videos, I just feel like sometimes y'all complain about things that you don't need to complain about. That's the first part of the things.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to comment on that before I move on.
No, continue.
The next part of it is people are complaining about the format of the show. People are saying that, there's this, that Nicki does like phases. And then she gets to a certain phase where she does like all the upbeat bangers, and then she slows it down and makes it a little bit more R&B. And then her special guest, Monica, comes out.
Right.
And things get slower.
Right.
They all also say that there's like an awkward like pause where I guess the DJ doesn't play, and it's kind of just people are in a holding pattern, I guess, waiting for Monica to come out. And then Monica comes out and they're like, well, she doesn't have the same energy Nicki Minaj does.
Right.
And then Nicki comes back out and finishes the show. Now, people keep saying they don't understand why the opening is in the middle of the show. Someone did clarify it's not technically the middle of the show, it's towards the end of the show.
Okay.
Just so we're clear, and we said this when we talked about this, Monica is not the show opener.
Right.
Monica is a special guest.
Right.
So she wouldn't come on at the beginning of the show because she's not opening the show.
Right.
Her placement, that I don't know anything about that. I didn't see the show, so I can't speak on that. But overwhelmingly, the videos that I'm seeing are from white people who don't know who Monica is.
Oh, man.
Overwhelmingly.
And that's where these screenshots come from, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Because Black people are fed up.
Yeah. Well, you let me know when you want me to start reading.
Go for it.
All right. Well, this post says Pink Friday high highs versus low lows.
Mm-hmm.
It says we've been sitting like for 10 plus minutes. Nicki has 6 songs left, and at 11 p.m., a whole other act came on stage and performed.
Didn't even know her name.
Multiple multiple songs with a totally different vibe. So many pauses and delays like this, taking 15 minutes to set up the stage while the crowd feels dead. And so someone commented and said, when referring to Monica, I need the non colored to not speak on it. It's not y'all lane. The black people enjoyed it, I promise. The
I love how
following,
that person said, I'm going to speak for all black people. That was hilarious to me.
the next comment says,
uh,
y'all not knowing Monica's literally, y'all not knowing Monica literally says a lot. Crying, laughing emoji. Next person says, Renaissance really ruined all concerts for me because Beyonce had the most amazing visuals and mixes for moments like that. And the next person says, it's hard not to laugh and cringe after watching Beyonce on tour and watching her Renaissance film. Oh, you sent another post. I thought this was the same one. All right, I can't even see this one. What's this say? All right, the top is cut off. Monica comes on stage at 11 p.m. to perform rather than to an empty crowd at the beginning is so nice of Nicki. Oh, to have her perform in the middle rather than to an empty crowd at the beginning is so nice of Nicki. That's the post. Someone says, if you grew up cleaning to church music, you will not mind Monica performing at any time. I wish I would stop talking about Monica. I get it. You know nothing about her. But guess what? It's Nicki's tour. She loves Monica. She's an R&B legend, but of course, you wouldn't know it.
people were just. So people are fed up. So you have on one hand, people who are posting that they just, because I have seen the amount of videos that I've seen in the last few days where people were like, Monica has this person performing in the middle
No,
of
no,
the
no.
show.
Nicki has this person.
Oh, I'm sorry. Nicki has this person performing in the middle of the show, and and we're wondering if Nicki's gonna come back out or not. I just think it's really funny. Like, it doesn't offend me because I feel like this is not just a white versus people of color thing. I feel like this is a young people thing. Like, I think that Monica was a 90s R&B artist and she is legendary in her own right. But I fear that some of these people that are posting these videos about this lady that they can't identify, it's because they're not familiar. Nikki is still Nikki is still on her trajectory today, so that even those of us who were maybe teenagers back in 2005 and people who maybe are younger now or around that age now know her. I don't think that's the same thing for Monica. So I feel like this is probably a lot of people who just don't know a whole lot about 90s R&B, and possibly because they weren't there and don't seek out that era of music. I don't know. I've just been speculating because I'm like, on one hand, I was surprised that people didn't know who Monica was. But then on the other hand, I really had to think about it and think, well, you know, I'm a young lady pushing 40. So, I mean, like, I'm trying to be mindful of the fact that everybody doesn't have the same information. And while I think Monica is someone you should know, she's not for everybody. And I also kind of feel like a lot of these people sound like they were gifted tickets. Like they don't sound like fans who saw, oh my gosh, because when I look at concerts too, I look at the opener. Yeah, maybe if it's one of my faves, I'm not gonna care, or the opener or the special guest or whatever. Maybe I won't care whether whoever it is or not. But like y'all don't even know the woman's name when you get there. Like it's just like what?
I think that speaks to a few points. I think number one, if you don't know who Monica is, but you're a Nicki fan, it could be for a couple of reasons. Number one, it could be age, which you pointed to. Number two, it could be demographics. Nicki is she's an artist with a lot of crossover records.
Yeah.
And so, yes, Nicki primarily does hip hop, but Nicki sings, Nicki has pop records,
I was just about to say
and
it's okay for you to say she's pop.
oh no, I know she's pop. I'm just trying to be careful how I word this. I want to come off factual, not judgy, and so I'm just trying to make sure I word it properly. Because I don't want people to think I'm dissing Nicki in any way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Nicki has um, fans in multiple genres. And so if you're a fan of Nicki's pop records, if you're a fan of Nicki's singing records, and also, yeah, you like her hip hop stuff too, because she does a blend of all three of these, you may not necessarily be a person who listens to R&B at all.
Yeah.
If I'm looking to listen to the records that make me twerk, the records that make me, and excuse me, yes, perfect timing, the burp and the dance simultaneously. See what happens when you got a co-host?
Exactly.
If you're looking
Don't
to
forget it.
right, if you're looking to if you're looking to hear certain records from Nicki, even the ones that might be R&B esque, it doesn't necessarily mean you're a fan of R&B at all.
Right.
So it may not even have anything to do with age. I agree, age is probably part of it, but I'm just hitting another side of things where there are probably people who are fans of Nicki that don't listen to R&B at all.
Yeah.
They just listen to pop. They just listen to hip hop. And I feel like if you listen to hip hop, you probably do know Monica, but there's still a lot of demographic questions that come into play here.
Right. And
Um,
from what
so
era? Because Monica is at this point a different era. She's not really, and yes, she makes music now. She's featured on Nicki's album, but she's not necessarily of this era. Like
right.
it's that's just the way it is at this point.
Right. So I'm not mad at the people on the internet who don't know who Monica is. It's unfortunate, but I think it speaks to all
Mhm.
of the things that we just said. As far as this super high expectation of artists, it's foolish. What you should expect is a good performance. What you should
Mhm.
expect is a good show. No one said Beyonce spending millions and millions of dollars, which, if you saw the Renaissance film, she speaks about the costs of putting on this show and the details of how hard it was to have these sets be made and travel from city to city to city in pieces, because they speak about that in the Renaissance film.
Mhm.
Every artist is not doing that. Every artist cannot afford to do that. And really, every artist is not interested in doing that. Everyone is not shooting a film. Everyone doesn't want you to show up in the same color at the same time and know to be quiet when she says a certain word.
Look around,
Um,
everybody on mute.
right. Everybody
You did
doesn't
it too
care.
soon.
Yeah, because we're not at the concert. Everybody doesn't care to do that. Everyone doesn't want to do that. Everyone cannot afford to do that. Everyone is also just not Beyonce. Nicki is a top tier artist, and that is irrefutable. But that doesn't mean that she wants to copy and paste what another artist did. And
She
really,
didn't want
why would
to.
she want to? Right, exactly.
Right.
Why would she want to be like Beyonce? Now, if you have the money to go see Beyonce and also to go see Nicki, hats off to you. Kudos to you. But your expectation of a copy and paste show is foolish. Every artist has creative rights. Every artist has creative license, which means they can put together their show however the fuck they feel like doing it.
Hello. Thank
That's
you.
it. That's it for me.
And that's it for weeknights.
Oh, we out? That's it? Wow. All right.
Yeah, we could let's save some for later tomorrow.
After being solo yesterday, I'm energized and like, all right, co-host, let's do
I,
it.
I see that, but I also see where we're at for time, and I'm like, all right, let's shut her down, and we'll be back tomorrow.
We shall. See you tomorrow night.
Nope. But
Oh, I'm about to say
I
you
don't want
about to
I don't want the balloons to
put the balloons up.